All right, everybody, welcome back to another Paperback Flicks. I'm Ruth Craddock,
I'm Ray Davidson.
and today we're talking about Where the Heart Is, the book by Billie Letts, and I want to say 1995, if I remember, movie. We'll put it up there, like we always do. It'll be in the description, whatever. With Natalie Portman. And yeah, so let's do it. Have you seen this movie before?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
This
yeah,
was one of my sick day movies.
nice. Your 6A movie, what does that mean?
Sick day. So I used to get sick a lot, especially in high
Oh.
school. And I had a shelf it was like a 3 foot shelf
Mm-hmm.
that I just would put DVDs up there as so when I had my sick days, I could just turn it on. And then if I fell asleep or whatever, when I woke up, I knew right where I was.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, that's fun. Sorry, I thought you said 6 day or something like that. Anyways, yeah, sick day. I understand. It is definitely a fun movie. I watched it several times when it first came out, and I bought it. I actually got it as like a two DVD combo with Anywhere But Here. It must be released by the same people, but they both have Natalie Portman in it, so it
That's
makes
funny.
sense.
Where the heart is, anywhere but here.
Yeah. Yep. Anywhere but here, where the heart is. I don't know. Yeah. But they actually say anywhere but here in the movie at one point. And I was like, which one came first? I don't know. I'll have to check. Anyway, so yeah, so you like the movie then.
Oh, I love the movie. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know it was a book.
Yeah, I didn't either. So I was like looking at my movie cabinet the other day going, crap, what are we gonna do next? I don't know what to choose. And I started looking at my movies. I'm like, okay, what movies I have? What's a book? And I kept looking through and then I was like, hey, that's a book. Nice. So there you go.
Cool.
Otherwise, I probably would never have read this book because yeah, this is a little different genre than a lot of the things we read. We read a lot of different stuff, but this is a little more contemporary, you know?
Slice of lifey.
Yeah, Midwestern America, normal people thing. Um, so from what I understand, I might need to double check this. This was inspired by a true story or a news story she saw of a woman who had a baby in a Walmart. And I don't know if the woman had been living there for a time, but she had the baby in the Walmart, and then that inspired the whole story.
Right. Well,
So,
and the author is from Midwest. I don't know if it was specifically Oklahoma, but I feel like it might have been.
hmm
And she's like a lot of the things like she knew a lady that had a bunch of kids by a bunch of different husbands. There was not a lot to do in your small town. A lot of
hmm
teen pregnancy. Like a lot of this um came from like she wrote what she knew.
yeah,
So,
yeah. It definitely feels like there's a lot of personality to the characters in the book. That like, do you really get a sense that these are real people? And that's one of the things I really enjoyed about the book, because I believed all these people were who they are right off the bat, and that's always a great sign when an author can do that. And you're not
yeah.
like, they feel flat or they feel not very well developed.
Right. Or they feel fake. One thing that I guess the author got a lot of pushback when the book first came out was that a lot of people were saying like they're too charactery. They're too, there's no one who is actually full on sister husband. And she's like, maybe you just haven't met the right people because there's someone in every town that is a sister
No,
husband.
actually, these are based off people I've met, so
Right.
I don't
She's
think
like,
Sister Husband is that like charactery.
right. And who's the other one? Uh
Willie
The
Jack?
woman. Well, yeah, yeah. That seemed just too much. Like she was like, how can I make the most disgusting, like
Yeah.
vile guy, like, like loser kind of guy that thought he was a winner.
hmm
She was like, well, so there wasn't one specific man that he was supposed to be representing, but she knew a guy that did this. She knew a guy that kind of had this background. She knew a
hmm
guy she knew several of the one of these days I'm going to get out of here and move out to California and
hmm
And
Yeah.
so a lot of that she's like, yeah, he was kind of the amalgamation of several different guys that I knew in like high
hmm
school and whatnot. But yeah, these are like characteristics of real people.
Yeah, yeah. And that's kind of the thing with books is you do kind of take books and movies is you're taking the best case scenario. We talked about this when we were on my husband podcast for Far and Away, how like they took all these different experiences from Irish immigrants and
Mhm.
sort of put them all together with these two characters. Like they experienced all these things because
Right.
they were supposed to represent everybody. And so that's the thing people have to remember when they're doing a story, when you're doing a movie or a book, it's gonna be a little bit of a story. It's storytelling. It's not gonna be 100% real. Like it's not gonna be exactly the way it is. It's gonna be a little spicier. It's gonna be a little more interesting. There's gonna be
Right.
some things that are gonna be played up, and that's normal, and that's okay. If you want
Right.
everything just to be true life, then just go wander around and follow people about town or
Right.
something. I don't know.
And ultimately this is fiction. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not like fantasy, like high fantasy, but it is fiction. It is you get to see the karma.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You get to the audience gets to experience that like full circle,
Yeah, and you get to see
which
the fork in the road and the two different directions they both went.
right. And
Yeah.
in real life, you may not get that. In real life, you may not know what happens to Willie Jack. You may not know, you
Yeah.
know, you may not see the happy endings or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But in the book, yes, or when I'm telling you a story, like yes, you do. You see it all. You see
Yeah.
the points that the author says, now pay attention because this is going to matter.
Yeah.
Those 6 months that he was out, you know, trucking around, that didn't matter to the story. What matters is his interaction over here with Ruth. What was her name? Ruth
Ruth
Myers.
Myers. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like that the beauty of being able of telling a story is that I
Hmm.
only tell you the parts you need to know, but I can also give you the whole story.
Yeah. Or
So,
you can get it in like a little bit of both. Like you don't want to info dump, but you also don't want to give people so little background that are like, okay, why do I care?
right.
So yeah, I think she did a pretty good job. I thought it was a really well written book and it was fun. She did some fun things where she would like have her the character thinking of something while action was happening and like
Mhm.
she'd be replaying something someone said in her head, and you see it in italics in like the book. I had to get the physical book. I couldn't find an audiobook of it, and that's part of why this took so long for us to do this.
Yep.
Because I was trying really hard to do the audiobook. I got used to it. So, and then with the physical book, I have to physically not be doing anything else, so I can just do that. So, anyways, I finally did it. I made it happen. Um, But I liked how in the book the things that she was thinking as things were happening, like that she was playing in her head were in italics. So you're like, this is a thought, this is a memory, this is her repeating something in her head as she's talking to this person. And I found that was very effective,
Mhm.
very interesting, because that's how we really are. We really are playing things in our heads as we're interacting with people. I don't know how we do it sometimes, but we do. We have like three or four things going on at once, and yeah.
Yeah. And I liked the little things. There were little moments that were for the reader
Mm-hmm.
more than for the characters in the story. But like there's the part where Nova Lee, she's walking and she sees the parade that's going on. And so she
Mm-hmm.
kind of like stops and watches the parade and she sees the girls like twirling batons or whatever. And she's like these young fresh girls, these girls that were her age, these girls that would never be as old as her. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just kind of that moment that like that was for us, like
Yeah.
whether Nova Lee realized that whether you're supposed to take away that Nova Lee understood this concept or
Mm-hmm.
whether that was more like for you
For
to
you
you
to
know
understand the depth of her situation, that she will never be that free. She would never be as young as them. It is
right,
another way of saying it. She would never feel that young because she
right,
literally never had that kind of life. She never got to just sit there and twirl baton and just be like la la da da and just be in a parade. That was never her life.
right.
So I think that says a lot just in that statement. It says a lot about her and a lot about her perspective. So yeah, I like those things. Those were good. So what are your thoughts about the book overall?
um I did like it. This You're right. This is not one that I would have ever chosen to read. And I think if I hadn't seen the movie and someone said, "Oh, I think you like this book," I'd be like, meh,
Mm,
because it does kind of feel like it almost feels like you're looking down on the trailer trash kind of
oh yeah.
situation. And
Hmm.
I know she doesn't mean to do that. It's very clear that she doesn't mean to do that.
No.
But I came from a very poor family in the Ozarks, and we struggled and my parents, it was like a lifelong struggle to pull out of that, you know.
Hmm.
And I mean, I started working at 12 years old doing little, volunteer, and then I would get the tips or whatever. Like I
Yeah.
started cleaning people's houses at 12 or 13. And not just because, because I wanted my money, go to the movies or whatever,
Yeah.
but because there were times that my parents were like, "Listen, we can't get you the things that you want. We're barely covering the necessities."
Yeah.
If I wanted more, I got, like I kind of identified a little bit with that
Hmm.
caliber, I guess, of people to where it almost felt like you've got what is her name? Audrey Judd, um,
Alexi.
Lexi, yeah, and she's just you almost think she's vapid the way that she's like, my kids can celebrate whatever holiday they want and they can wear whatever wild thing they want. And
Yeah.
I got a baby at 15 and so I wanted a daddy for that one. And so then I found another man and slept with him, but all I got out of that was another kid. And and
Yeah.
and you're like, and you're still doing the same thing because you're that dumb. Like, you know what I
So
mean?
I think I'm going about this all the wrong way. I don't think she was really thinking, oh, if I sleep with this guy, he'll be the daddy. I think she was hoping a relationship would actually
Right,
materialize, and instead a child did, and then the man disappeared. And so,
right,
like, I think there's more to it. She just tried to sum it up, and she's trying. I think Lexi, in a lot of ways, is self-deprecating in a really upbeat, funny kind of a way.
right,
She's very like aware of her imperfections and of her problems, but her way of dealing with it is kind of laughing it off. Like, oh yeah,
right,
my life sucks, but hey, my kids are great and I love them. And
right,
hey, if I'm a single mom, why shouldn't I celebrate whatever holiday I want? Why can't my
right.
kids do whatever they like?
And why is that the big concern? Like, you know, my kids are fed, my kids are safe.
Apparently really well behaved. Like at least at the beginning of the book, they seemed like they did what their mom told them to do. If this is what they were
Right,
going to eat, that's what they were going to eat. And she said they needed to stand while they eat to lose weight.
right,
Then whatever her weight thing was, those were pretty funny. Then they did it. Like they seemed pretty well behaved kids. I was like, wow.
right,
So, or they understood that they were in this together or something. But yeah, I think there's a lot more to Lexi than like meets the eye, and you definitely see that as the story goes on and you get to know her more. But yeah, at first she can definitely seem vapid, but I
right.
think the fact that she immediately, sorry, I'm all burpy. Immediately, she latches on to Novalee and sees this is a person who needs a friend. This is a person who is lost like her. This is someone who needs a mentor in a way. Because Lexi is older and
Hmm.
has had a kid before, and she's just had her first kid. So she's like, I can kind of help this woman. She's alone all by herself. It would have been nice to have had somebody like me when I was starting out, So I think that's a lot about Lexi too, that she right immediately like forms a friendship with Novalee and like sort of just brings her into her life. And I think it says a lot about this town too, that all these people she meets, like on the first day, are end up becoming important people in her life.
Right,
And like what a nice town, or what great people, or maybe just she has that kind of energy that people are just drawn to, that people are like, I want to talk to that woman. And maybe that's it. Maybe it had to do with Novalee's energy in general, that people wanted to talk to her and that she invited that energy and then she just made friends easily. I don't know if that was true before because we don't get any at the before.
right.
Yeah, because we start in the car
Yeah.
in the book.
Right. Well, and I kind of like that too, that Novalee allows the opportunity. Because I feel like we've all had that. Like I can think back on times, and even now, when I might be sitting alone waiting for a ride or whatever it is, and someone like approaches me to speak to me, and maybe I'm polite, and maybe I say, "Oh, thank you," but but kind of how she's talking about how when Moses White Cotton comes up, and at first she's like, "All right, well, thanks anyway," and he's like, "I'm just gonna keep talking to you. I kind of feel like
You need
I,
someone to talk to.
like
Yeah.
yeah, like you might need you might be in crisis here, like he's like, "Hey,
Hmm.
I'm just gonna talk to you a little bit. If it's weird, all right, sorry, And she kind of like slowly like allows the opportunity, and then by the end of that conversation, she's like,
I
"Wow, I'm
think I'm a
so glad I allowed
great
that to
person. Yeah.
She
Yeah.
does the same thing with Sister Husband too, where she's originally she's like, not who you think I am,
Yeah.
so
She's
bye."
such a friendly person. She doesn't even give her a chance really to tell her that she's not who she
Right.
is.
And you could be like I know I've watched my kids do it. I have done it a couple times myself where instead of just like in the especially in the book like it talks about how like she didn't want to be rude to this woman, so she's like, "Yes, ma'am." No, because that's how she was brought up.
Hmm.
Even in a trailer, that's how we're brought up out there.
Yeah, it's
Like,
culture.
yes, ma'am, no, sir, like, and
Hmm.
so when Sister Husband just keeps talking over her, then she just, well, yes, ma'am. And I forget what question she asks, but she says something or she asks a question, and Novalee doesn't go, "Listen, this is awkward for me, so, like you could do. Like, that wouldn't
Yeah.
be especially rude to do that.
No.
However, she doesn't do that. She allows the opportunity. And by allowing it just to happen, to be like, "Well, what have I got to lose? Okay, so what does that mean?" Or "I
Hmm.
guess I don't read the Bible much," and
Yeah.
allowing it to happen, it ends up being she does have somewhere to go. And she probably I thought this about the movie, and the book kind of reaffirmed it for me that she probably just could have gone to Sister Husband in the first place. She probably could have said, like, clearly this is like an open-minded person who's willing to just take you. She probably could have said right there, like,
I'm in
"I don't
need.
know
I'm gonna
what I'm,
help.
yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. He ran out on me. I'm stuck at the Walmart." And
Yeah.
probably Sister Husband would have been like,
Oh,
"Well,
we'll
you
help
got it
you.
home. Get in the car."
Oh,
Like,
we'll find your folks and we'll get you back home or whatever. Yeah,
right.
and I think that could have happened. I think at that point, Nobody's still not sure if he's gonna come back. I think
Yeah.
she waits for first little while because she's like, he's coming back, right? He's not actually doing this. Like part
Right.
part of her is hoping that this is all just a joke, or he just is bad taste,
Yeah.
or he's
He's
gonna change
mad.
his
He
mind, come
drives
back,
away.
realize because he was willing to take her with him. He was
Right.
planning on taking her with him in the first place to go to California. They were moving together and they were going to have their baby. So, and he's been around this whole time. She's not too far away from having her baby when this happens to her when she gets left at the Walmart.
Right.
So, like, clearly he's known she's going to have a baby for a while, still with her. So, maybe she's thinking, hey, this is just a bad joke and he's going to come back. He's going to come
Yeah.
back. And I think that also the panic too of it, like, okay, what do I do? I don't know what to do. But like instead of like the panic running around for like a chicken with your head cut off, she's more the quiet, okay,
Yeah.
let's sit here and think about this. And then these people kept coming up and talking to her and she's like, oh, hi, thanks. Oh. And
Yeah.
like I liked Benny Good Luck
Uh-huh.
in the book. I liked his character that it was interesting having him giving her the tree. And
Uh-huh.
then Sister Husband gave her the welcome basket and had that whole conversation. And And then, of course, you also had Moses White Cotton, who I love. I love that character. And
He gave her like a photo album or a baby book, the little
yeah,
baby.
like the photo, like the catalog for the buying photos or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, yeah, because he came and did photos at the Walmart every once in a while.
Right.
And I do love that they showed from the very start that she was into photography already. She already liked to take pictures. She was doing it with her little Polaroid. So like
Hmm.
she already had an eye for these things and enjoyed that. But like it took, meeting someone like him and like seeing his love for it to really like awaken that reality that, hey, this is something that really matters to me that I could get really into and I could be really good at and makes me happy.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like that's kind of a reoccurring theme with Nova League. Like she starts out, she is pretty naive, and
hmm.
she's used to being on her own or needing to be independent, even though she doesn't quite realize that. Like she talks about the lady that she stayed with. that would like get her welfare check or whatever, and then she would like blow it on something
Something
ridiculous.
crazy, yeah.
Yeah. And but she like Nova Lee's been taking care of herself essentially her whole life. Like her mom was not really motherly.
Yeah.
Um, and the lady that she stayed with was not especially motherly. And she's kind of been on her own anyway. And so
Hmm.
when she goes off with Willie Jack, like it's not necessarily a dependent thing. Like she's not really dependent on him. However, she
Yeah.
allows herself to be like she's like, oh well, I guess he said no, so he spent her money to get that car. I didn't in the movie, that's not what it is. In the book, he spent her money to get
Yeah.
this piece of trash car.
That's
And I'm
her
like,
car.
yeah, that's
That
exactly
piece of
what I
junk.
read. Like, what? That's not even his car.
Oh
But
yeah. That's yeah, that's pretty messed up when you think about that. I forgot that.
yeah,
Totally forgot that.
but like
Yeah.
and so she's used to being on her own. And so the concept of like, okay, so now I live here on my own. Like she doesn't even realize how strong she actually is. She doesn't
Hmm.
realize how naturally gifted she is. She's talented with photography. She's already interested in it. Like
Resourceful.
she's sociable. Like we were just
Hmm.
talking about, like she naturally allows relationships to spark and to bloom and to, like I don't know, like all through it, she is naturally a good mother. She has no inspiration to draw from. There are no good mothers in her upbringing.
Hmm.
And yet she just naturally like loves and cherishes this child and she starts making better and better decisions for this child.
Yeah.
And like she just that like her what is it? Her not motto even, just like her natural state of being
Uh-huh.
is one of so much potential. She has so much potential in so many areas and she actually um attains it instead of a lot of times like a lot of times I I loved singing. I loved acting. I loved all
Hmm.
of these things that I say, and it is true that I chose family instead. But I probably didn't have to choose. You know what I mean? Like, I
Hmm.
probably could have done those things and had my family. Like, they were
Wouldn't have
not
been easy, but yeah.
right. They were not what got in the way of me doing what I aspired to do, except that I did not allow for those opportunities. I let them pass me by.
Hmm.
I kind of sat on that potential and I'm happy with my life. I genuinely am grateful for where I am in life.
Hmm.
However, I maybe there could have been more. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
she takes that more. She allows that more. And I love that. I love that her character does that in every facet, except for with Forney. With Forney, she just about screws everything over.
Yeah. Well, that's part of her problem. What I think is with Willie Jack, she was willing to try to build something real. She's like, okay, this is my chance to have a real family. We're gonna have this baby together. We're going to California. He's gonna get a good job because she believes he's gonna get a real job. Not that he's gonna go there and maim himself and then like get some kind of insurance money or something. Whatever this dumb idea was. I'm like, why would you do this? And then
Yeah.
purposely he's gonna go lose a finger so he can like get a settlement. I'm like, okay. So she doesn't know he's planning to do that, but she's thinking, okay, this is a real thing. He helped me print it. He stayed with me. He wants to take me with him to California, and we're gonna have a family. So that's why she seems so naive because she's investing. It seems to me like she, for the most part, is willing to give people the benefit of the doubt. She's willing to give them the opportunity to do the right thing and to be the right person. She's willing to, you know, like judge later.
Yeah.
You know, accept them first, judge later. And I think that's part of her charm, her personality is that she doesn't see the bad in people initially. She'll see it later, but she's not looking for the bad. I
Right.
think she might be independent, she might be capable and strong. She might have had to do a lot of things by herself. But even when she was talking to Forney about the old lady that spent her welfare check, she wasn't mad at the lady. She was
Right.
talking about it because she was saying her only Christmas tree was that they painted it on the wall, and the lady was trying to make it right, and they got all the plants and everything. And he's like, "Well, you didn't get your bike." She's like, "Oh, it's even better. I got the tractor that she bought with the money." And I was like, that says so much about her that she's like, she realized the lady wasn't trying to be a bad person, and like this was a weird situation for both of them. And she saw the good in the person, even though there were some major flaws, major issues. And but she saw where the heart was. Like literally where the heart is of a person.
Right.
And that's what she always was seeing. I didn't mean to say that. It came out that way,
Yeah.
ironically.
She
Um,
trusts her mom when her mom comes back, even though her mom has walked out on her before.
yeah,
Like,
she's willing to see the good people. She's willing to like trust you and forgive you and give people a chance.
hmm
Yeah. This is the whole thing of the mom, that kills me. That kills me. Like, because I don't know. So I identify in some ways with Novely, feeling kind of like I did a lot of things myself, nowhere near to the level of her. I felt like I had to struggle a lot and do a lot of things myself, and I didn't have a lot of support from my parents, from my family, and I was kind of on my own. And I have felt like at times they have disappointed me or left me high and dry. And but I always wanted to kind of forgive. I wanted to fix those relationships because I don't actually want to be angry and bitter all
yeah.
my life. And I want to love these people. They're pretty much the only people that I actually want the good opinion of. I don't care what most people think, but I want these guys' good opinion. And these are the people that I probably will never get to care about me. And that's the irony of it. Like, and I don't need them to love me, but there's a part of me that's like, but I'm that person. I want to fix a problem. I see a problem in a relationship. I want to fix it. So I'm willing to forgive. I'm willing to like keep trying. And as long as they're willing to do it back, I will keep coming back. So I can understand that part of Novely. I do see the negative in people. I am a lot more bitter. I have more of a crust. I am a crab. I'm more defensive. I'm not nearly as trusting or understanding. So I don't have that aspect, but like I do have the desire to want to forgive and to want to see the best in people, like certain people. Some
hmm
people, I will let them walk over me, not walk over me, but I will give them a chance, chance over chance for a chance. If they're like a family member or somebody that I really resonated with at some point, like they can come back into my life and I'll be like, oh, okay. But like other people, I'm like, screw you. I don't care. Like I wouldn't give them the time of day. So like I have a duality myself in that I can be really like kind of cold. I can seem cold and really blunt and, you know, sort of aloof, but really I'm super friendly and I will tell you anything and everything about my life. And I want to hear everything and anything about your life. I want to
Right.
have like a whole conversation about real things, not just chit chat about the weather or what you did that day. I want to actually get to know you. But this is a bit off-putting for people. This will
For
freak
some.
people out because people aren't used to talking about stuff. So, anyways, but Nobly, she just lets people talk to her. She,
hmm
like you were saying, I like what you said that she allowed the opportunity for these conversations to happen, for these relationships to happen. She had an open energy. She didn't push them away. She just allowed it to be. And I'm like, you know what? I think that's something that I really struggled with is I don't allow the opportunity or I'm constantly on guard that I'm gonna get hurt, that I am too weird for anyone to like, that I'm like, I just assume when I walk in the room that no one's gonna like me. Screw it, I don't care. I like they can't hurt me if I've already decided they're not worth my time, kind of a thing. And so that is an interesting thing to think about is that she literally just lets it happen. It's not that she's like, "Hey, I want to be your best friend. Who are you? Hey." She's just sitting there calmly doing her thing and people came to her and she let it happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a big deal. I think sometimes we don't let things happen. We're like too busy trying to force things to happen that we don't just trust in the plan and let God send people our way. And I think that's essentially the only way that really makes sense out of the story to me, that she meets all these people the very first day and everything kind of just works out just right, is that this was God's plan. And God meant for her to be there. And God sent these people her way. And she needed them as much as they needed her. And this was ultimately where she was supposed to end up. Even if the situation seemed crazy, it was all meant to be.
Right.
Um, when we were watching the movie, my husband was like, why did he just ditch her? Why did he just leave her? Like, why would he do that? I'm like, okay, well, first off, Willie Jack's a creep. He's not from the best background. He's got all sorts of insecurities. And secondly, my interpretation I've always gotten from when I watched the movie was that when he felt that heartbeat, it freaked him out.
Hmm.
And he lied about it and said it wasn't like he didn't, it's like, yeah, you can prove it by me. And like, and it just freaked him out. All of a sudden it was very real. There is a baby in there. This
Hmm.
is a big deal. I am gonna be a father. And that suddenly made him feel very vulnerable and very mortal
Hmm.
and fragile. And suddenly he was like, I'm not ready for this. And he freaked out. Suddenly he was like, I can't do this. Like, like it didn't quite hit him until that moment. And then he makes this horrible decision. He's like, I'm just gonna leave. And then not gonna look back, and I'm just gonna pretend like this didn't happen and there's not a woman about to have my baby over there. He just
Right.
like decides to go tunnel vision. And that leads to all his downfall, all his problems. Because instead of like acknowledging the fact that, hey, yeah, there's a baby in there. This is real, but this could be the best thing that ever happened to you. He tries to deny it and push it down and instead goes after all his worst possible instincts and doing all the worst possible things he could do.
Yep.
He
In the
embraces
book,
his worst sides.
yeah, in the book he over and over again he keeps hearing that, right? He keeps
He hears her voice.
remembering that moment of like, can't you feel that? That bump, bump, bump.
Yeah.
That's where the heart is. Like he keeps
Yeah.
hearing that over and over again, and it's always like it's pretty clear that it's like the thing that's like haunting him. Like you said, like that was his opportunity to be a better person, and he didn't take it. And it's kind of one of those like one bad decision leads to another. Like
Hmm.
he keeps taking that wrong turn every time. He almost like it's pretty clear he doesn't feel like he deserves the better decisions. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like when he has the opportunity to choose better, he almost like has like this like moment of like, oh, but I don't deserve better.
He always chooses the wrong thing. Like, see, he loses everything, makes one horrible mistake that leads to another horrible mistake that gets him in prison, and like he's suddenly just screwed. And both their lives just change pretty quick within like a day. Their lives
Hmm.
are completely different, you know? And I do love seeing that back and forth. The movie does it a little bit more. Um, There's a lot more that happens in the book on Willie's side, but like I feel like they did a good job kind of condensing it in the movie. I didn't feel like we lost too much. Yeah, there's some characters we kind of lost, but like not it's not that big of a difference,
Have to
personally.
say, I am glad that we lost the whole toothless
Oh yeah,
thing.
that was a little too much.
It
Like
disturbed me so.
why that was attractive to him. I'm like, ew, what is wrong
So,
with you?
the author actually talks about that too. And
Okay,
she wants that um everyone that Willie Jack ends up hurting has an obvious flaw. Nova Lee, it talks about how she had gotten sliced in the arm and she had a
yeah,
scar. And she also had a scar, was it right under
hmm,
her lip or whatever? So that
yeah,
when
like
she
it
was,
was like right around there. Yeah,
yeah. And Forney saw it and it was endearing to him.
yeah, it
Um,
became like his favorite thing.
right. It became this cute little unique thing that he knew that her smile was genuine when that like kind of shined or whatever. Like
That
it,
showed up. Yeah,
yeah. And so like that's sweet. But yeah, she gave people just a lot of physical um scars.
so, are you saying that he looks for weaknesses in people and exploits them?
Basically, yeah, that he's like naturally like he may not even realize that he's consciously doing it, but he just sort of naturally like gravitates toward the people that he feels
Inferior
are
to him?
yeah, like the girl with no front teeth, like that turned him on. Not the fact that she was like it even says like she's bending down and her pants are riding up and
Yeah,
showing off, and that's not what attracted him.
no,
What attracted him was the fact that she had this like red gums where her teeth were missing. Like that's what turned like so gross to me, right?
yeah.
But like that's like naturally like she was weak. How many other men are gonna like her, right?
Yeah.
He went, that's the one, like without even consciously, he even actually is like, I'm confused as to why that turns me on, but it really does.
Mm-hmm.
Because
He
it
doesn't.
made her less likely to be wanted by other men, so then
Mhm.
more grateful, I guess, to
Yeah.
have him. And then ultimately when he ends up getting his legs taken off by a
Train.
brain, like that kind of it makes him like realize like now what you thought you were, like you he's never gonna be
Yeah.
anything.
No.
He's done. He
He's
goes
finally
home.
been humbled after all this stuff. Yeah, and that's what things that's crazy about all these different things that happen. He has many opportunities in which to do the right thing. He messes up with Novely. He gets through prison, and like in the book, he gets sort of sponsored by the nurse who thinks he looks just like her dead son, and that's how he's able to kind of make it through. And she gives him her son's Martin guitar and, the money to kind of get started when he first gets out of prison. And that makes the difference. But then instead of like doing the right thing, he immediately skips out of hotel bills, immediately starts just buying liquor and cheap women and just blowing through the money as fast as he can
Mhm.
while he's trying to still audition. Instead of just focusing on auditioning and getting an agent and starting to like really focus on his music career, he instantly goes back into bad behavior and sort of like takes advantage of like the good faith this woman had put in him and
Mhm.
investing all this time in him. And so then like the nurse lady, that's an opportunity right there. He was given an opportunity. One, he helps this lady sort of deal with her pain and her suffering of missing her son, and like she gives him all this hope, and he could have been like, hey, this is a great opportunity, like to help each other. I'm gonna help her, she's gonna help me. And then he could have changed his ways. Nope, he decides to squander it, and his very last, like, got nothing left to lose. He goes to Ruth Myers, and she decides to invest some money to make him into something. And again, this is another great opportunity where a woman took a chance on him.
Mhm.
And this seemed to be more or less like the theme is that a woman saw something in him, took a chance on him, and then he completely disrespects them
Mhm.
and he screws it up. And so then with Ruth Myers, she cleans him up. She does everything she can. She's like, I see potential there. I can make this work. And she does. She gets him cleaned up. She gets him on the circuit. He's playing gigs. He's actually making money. But he's too focused on the, I want it all now. I want the fame now. It's like, never mind that he couldn't play a gig before and he couldn't even play before he went to prison. And he taught himself to do that in prison, which
Mhm.
is like probably the one good thing he did was write a song, teach himself to play and write a song in prison. Probably the best thing he did. And then he comes out, and instead of like using his new ethics and his new opportunities, he's just wasting everything. And instead of being happy that he has a gigs that he can actually go and play and make money, and he's getting to tour and do this instead of just being some having no career. And he obviously enjoys the performing and enjoys singing. He learned to love it. So why is he squander that? So like
Right.
he doesn't get his song on the radio fast enough, or like it doesn't blow up like he thought it would right away. Though apparently it's being played a lot, and so he's got to be making some money, even if he's playing like clubs in Santa Fe or something. He's not playing the dives he started at, but instead of being
Right.
grateful for the progression, he wants it all now. And so then he like pretty much shoots himself in the foot by going behind Ruth Meyer's back and disrespecting her. At the same time, so in the movie, it's like the old cellmate is like, I wrote the song. But like
Mhm.
in the book, it's the nurse saying that it was her son's song and that he
Right.
stole it.
And so one thing that so from my perspective, like she seems, the nurse is like the kind that like she puts all the band-aids on like for
Hmm.
all the little things, and she seems like she's like on the verge of like an emotional, like this is not a happy job. She's a nurse at a freaking or a librarian. Well, I don't know, at the prison,
Yeah.
right? Because she also runs the library or something like
Was she
that.
both? Yeah. I thought she was like a
Yeah,
nurse. Yeah. Maybe she
yeah,
was librarian. I don't remember.
yeah. I think you're right though. Like she did something with the medical stuff, which is why she always had band-aids and stuff. But then
Hmm.
she was in the library. I thought it was a
Maybe,
library
yeah.
when
Maybe that's what I got confused because she constantly had bad aids.
yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, whatever she was doing, she
She
was
had
working at
some
a
kind of clout in the prison and is able to help him some.
right. And she was clearly not a very happy woman. She was not an emotionally stable woman. And she did make it pretty clear in the book that like she thought she was looking at her, oh my gosh, you look like my son, you sound like my son, you like she seems to have like mentally projected her son onto this person.
Yeah.
And how easy would it have been for him to be like, hey, I got my start from this lady, back in my past. Like, I couldn't have done it without her, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And like
how,
not have wasted her money. And maybe he probably never called her again. Probably went through her money, never contacted her again, took her son's Martin and like her heart, essentially, broke her heart.
right.
And
And so
then
then
that's
later
it.
on, she's like, I did that for my son. Like that's my son's guitar. I was helping my son. Like
Yeah. And she's like, I thought I saw something in him. I thought that he could be somebody like my son. And this was the chance. Like she saw something. Yeah, she saw her son in him. And maybe there wasn't that much in him. But a woman saw something in him and again gave him an opportunity and he screwed it up. I don't know
right,
if I believe that she would go as far as to like lie and claim that that was her son's song, but I could see her going after him for the money and maybe the guitar.
right. Could he have just been grateful? Like if he had just
Yeah.
been just that one moment, like a public, like, or when Ruth Myers is like, the one thing you can never do not lie to me.
Hmm.
Like be whatever kind of scuzz bucket you want to be on your own time.
Yeah.
Do not lie to me. And if he had been like, this lady gave me my guitar, like you know what I mean? Like just
And
acknowledged her, like that's how
yeah.
I got my start, was this lady gave me a guitar. Like anything.
Yeah, and
Then
contact. He probably didn't contact her. That's probably the other thing. Is she was
right,
brokenhearted and mad, and when she heard the song and realized that it was him, and he had just changed his name and screwed her over, she was just pissed. So,
right.
yeah,
Yeah. And then she sees her son's guitar on this guy that she recognizes and she goes, what the, like, would it have been, like, it makes me think of, what's her name? Carol Burnett, how she would do the ear pull,
uh-huh, yeah,
like just that little acknowledgement. She didn't have to be like, so Miss So-and-so, like,
yeah.
it didn't have to be anything big. It was just that little, like,
You know who you are. You made it possible for me to be where I am, and I'm very grateful for all you did for me. You know what I mean? Like
right,
something.
right,
Dedicated it to the song to her.
right.
Something.
And
Yeah,
and then he would have looked better. He probably would have felt better.
yeah,
And this wouldn't have been a problem. Later on, when she's like, oh, my son, my cut, Ruth would have been like, listen, lady, thanks for the guitar. Here's the 500 bucks or
yeah.
whatever,
Yeah, they
like,
could have worked something out, or like she probably wouldn't have gone after him because if he had acknowledged her, or like at least kept contacts with her, because she's clearly lonely and is very still distraught about losing her son. If he had been like kind to her and kept that, just called her once in a while, say, "Hey, how you doing? This is what I'm doing. This is going on," that would have
right,
made her day, and it would have kept her happy, and it would have been enough. Like, and it probably would have made him feel better too to be doing this kind thing for this woman. But he was so in his head and so self-centered, he couldn't see how this relationship, he could have gotten a pseudo mother out of this woman. This could have become a support system that he didn't have, clearly. He could
right,
have actually grown from this. This could have been a mutually good thing for both of them. And again, I think maybe also God put things in Willie Jack's way too. Gave him opportunities, and then when he didn't take the right opportunity, then punished him for it. So it's like him meeting the lady in the prison. I'm like, what are the chances he's gonna meet
yeah,
someone that thinks he looks just like her son and is gonna
right.
go out of her way to help him? You know, what's the chances he's gonna meet Ruth Myers at the very last? Like he's got nothing else to
Right,
lose, and she's gonna take a chance on him.
right.
You
I
know,
don't I don't think God even had to punish him. Honestly,
he punished himself.
yeah, he does. He does. It's kind of one of those like, look here, I'm going to give you this opportunity, but I'm telling you, if you don't take it,
You
it's
need
going to
to
suck for
shape
you,
up.
you know?
Uh-huh.
And I don't think God even had to do anything. He just had to be like, here it is. And when you slap it down, okay, then
Okay, there's the consequences. They just kind of happen. And
yeah.
yeah, like he ends up destroying his liver, like destroying every chance he had of being able just to play. And in the book, he even like pawned his the Martin, which was like the most important thing he had to him, the most valuable thing to him, to help to get money for a drug deal or help some guy get some money
Mhm.
so he could like. And I was like, that was really stupid. If that's literally the one thing that was your livelihood and was
Right.
giving you a chance to even play. Now you can't even play. Now
Right.
you're a musician without a band. And that was the other thing I thought was interesting is they talked about how Ruth started him with this great band, but slowly over time he got rid of them because they were taller than him. And so that he
Right.
ended up with a less, an inferior band, but he was happier because he got to feel superior to them. Because
Right.
again, he couldn't be shorter than everybody else in his band. And I'm like, that's pretty stupid because having a great band behind you makes a huge difference. Your
Right.
band isn't great, it doesn't matter how good you sing. If your band sucks, and the other way around too, if you have a great band and the singer's not great, it kind of goes together. Like they really complement each other.
Hmm.
So the fact that he's constantly shooting himself in the foot, constantly doing the wrong thing, it kind of deserves to lose his legs. Like it's awful. And like at the same time, it's like, oh man, you made stupid choice after stupid choice. And even the lady at the end that he was in the car with, like she was even terribly nice to him. And he was clearly not nice to her. And for some
Hmm.
reason, she's willing to drive him around and drive him to Bakersville to try to get more help from his cousin and all this stuff. And she's just putting up with him.
Right.
Yeah, he just gets up and she's like, come in and eat something. You gotta get something else in your body besides drugs and alcohol. She's trying to give him like some like, come on, like put some reason in his head. And, he doesn't go in, he just wanders off.
Yeah.
And it's like, after all she's been doing for you, that's incredibly disrespectful just to walk away.
Yep.
And she'd probably like come back to the car and be like, where the heck is he? What the heck happened? What's going on? And she's probably worried sick. Like, I don't know like the details of this relationship per se, but it seems like she cares about him to a certain degree that she's going through all this effort to help him.
Right.
And then he just disappears on her. Oh my gosh, that would be
Yeah.
horrifying. I'd be like, and then when she does probably find out about him and his life, she's probably like, was it my fault? Like, does she end up internalizing it? Be like, I shouldn't have let him leave, or should have dragged him in there with me. You know what I mean? Like the things that his decisions hurt people in such a way that it almost makes him feel like it was their fault somehow,
Hmm.
and that's really, really awful. Anyways. His
Yeah.
whole story is just so interesting. And then, like, when he does lose his leg, suddenly he's like, wait, I'm not that great. I'm not the wonderful. I lost all the good things that came to me. I don't have the guitar. I can't play anymore. Um, I don't even have legs anymore. I can't run. I can't go anywhere. And so then at that point, he finally decides to go home. He could have gone home after he got out of prison and been like, okay, I messed up. And then he could have tried to go find Novalee then and be like, I'm so sorry. Or like tried to do something. And in the book, they say he called. He found out where she was eventually and
Hmm.
called and would just listen to them on the phone for a minute, but
Right.
he never talked to him. And I'm like, I can kind of see him doing that, but he could have still gone home right off the bat. But instead of going home, going back to like where he came from and trying to start over again from there, he's like, I'm gonna be a big star. And he goes straight into wastefulness. And it took losing his legs and losing everything and all his pride and finally admitting to Novalee, hey, I lied. I did feel the baby. I've been lying ever since, and I've been running ever since, and it done nothing but mess me up.
Yeah. Well, and even the way Nova Lee finds out about him in the book, even that is like another notch. Like, because in the book, he has had his legs amputated already. He's in a
Hmm.
wheelchair, and somebody steals his wheelchair while
Wheelchair.
he's in the toilet.
Yeah.
Like, like just like there's just
And he's stuck there for
no
like several days before somebody finds it's like a rest stop or something.
right.
How
Like
awful.
even that last shred of dignity that he didn't even know he had.
He doesn't
his
even have the wheelchair anymore. Yeah.
ripped away from him and like in the John of all places. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just insult upon insult upon insult.
Yeah.
And that one is not his fault. Like,
Yeah.
but
It's bad
it
luck, but
just
so.
is one of those it's just kind of one of those like of course. But then
But only because he's in that situation, she willing to go and find him and confront him. Like
right.
he'd been doing great. She found out he was a big um, musician and was, a rock star and had all this money, was doing great. There's no way she would have confronted him. She would have
Yeah.
ignored him and just like, act like she never knew he was. And they would never had that conversation. But
Hmm.
he had to lose everything to realize that what really started it was that lie and him running away from her, and that he needed to go back home and start again. That
Yep.
he needed to humble himself. And so, and then having him actually say, "I'm sorry," and her being like, "I can't believe he's actually saying this. I didn't think he would ever say something like this. He would ever say he was sorry." And like here
Right.
he is saying what I've always needed to hear,
Yep.
you
And
know?
his line of it's too late. Is it too late? Or I don't remember if he asks if it's too late or if he recognizes that it's too late for
Yeah.
him. And that moment, she's like, "Oh, I'm about to let it be too late with Forney."
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing.
Every relationship, she has been so open. Like that's exactly what we were talking about for like 10 minutes. Like she is so open to every relationship and this one relationship that they talk about forever. Like
Yeah.
everyone is like, clearly he loves you. Clearly you
Clearly
love
he
him too.
he is like there to help you from the get-go. He delivers your baby. He's
Yeah,
willing to like show up and be there for you. He instantly starts trying to teach your kid how to be a scholar, like freaking eighth grade reading level and second grade. Good grief.
right.
No wonder
Right.
he's reading Moby Dick and stuff to her at like infancy. So
Yeah.
like he
One
put all this effort into being there with him. And most dudes don't just hang around with a woman and her kid just for
right.
fun.
Right.
And yeah.
Well, and I can see like I do there is one like thing that I'm like right in the same lane with Novalee where like even when I met Scott, my husband, right?
Mhm.
When I met him and we were at a dance and we kept spit like I felt like I'm pretty sure he is noticing me, right? I'm pretty sure that he likes me. And I liked him too. And for some reason, I like did the thing, like almost like the imposter syndrome thing, where
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, but it's probably because of the darkness. It's probably, if
Yeah,
he's,
you're like reasoning it away and
yeah, I'm probably not nearly as cute as I think I am. And once he sees me in full light, he's going to be like, oh, well, that was
yeah.
fun. Pass, like, even though it's not like I was like, no one ever likes me. I'd had boyfriend before. I'd had,
Hmm.
I whatever, like the guys that were never the official boyfriend, but we like whatever.
Yeah,
Like I'd
yeah.
I'd had these little high schooly relationships before. And so like I knew that I wasn't like this hideous reject that no one will ever be interested in. But for
Yeah,
some
yeah.
reason, like I just had such a hard time being like, wow, look at this amazing like funny, handsome, like click, 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 all the winning aspects, it's not very likely that he actually is as into me as I want him to be. And
Yeah.
therefore, I like shut it down.
Hmm.
And he was even like everyone else could see it. Clearly, he's flirting with me all night. Clearly, he's like almost like, "Oh, what's that? Another guy wants to dance with you? Okay, but I got the next one." And
Yeah.
looking back on it, I'm like,
Like
oh my
it
gosh,
was
that makes
obvious. You just
yeah,
weren't willing to see it. Yeah.
right. I just couldn't see it for myself, even though I would have seen it for literally anyone else.
Hmm.
And I feel like Novalee kind of does that too. Like she sees Forney as it. Like he is the most whole person in her life.
Yeah. I
He is happiness for her, even
hmm
though he's complicated and he's
his
he,
life. Yeah.
you know.
That's what's really interesting about Porny is that like his whole life has been about taking care of somebody else. And
Hmm.
but like same time his sister was there for him when he needed her. And so she'd always be really important to him. And so he's willing to return and do that for her. So he kind of gave up his life to take care of her. And yeah, there's a certain sense of like bitterness a little bit, but when you and he's kind of weird. I don't know if he's kind of weird because he is weird, because he's like Asperger's or something, or
Well,
if it's because
yeah,
he just sort of shut himself in with his sister and made that his entire life and just didn't go
right.
out.
I feel like there's both. There's nurture and there's nature
Hmm.
involved in Forney's awkwardness. Also, they gave him the name of Forney, but
Yeah. And I live in a town called Forney, which is really funny.
well,
Forney,
so,
Texas. It's spelled the same
yeah,
way. No,
yeah.
actually, no, I think his with a TH or an F?
Uh, F
Yeah, okay.
Forney.
I think it is spelled the same exact way. Yeah.
Well, and she did that actually. So, Novalee came from there's a neighborhood or something called Novalee. Americus is actually a town in Alabama, not Alabama, in Oklahoma that had gone like the town doesn't exist anymore or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah. Hmm.
Um, and then there was a Forney is also a town. It might have been the town in Texas, I don't know. But there was another one, another weird one that like how there's so many weird names. Um, they are names of places
Yeah, I'm
that
not the only person that does that. Yeah. Like in
but
my A lot of people apparently do this. Like, John
yeah,
was copying me in his book because I was doing it in um my high fantasy novel. I named like all the kingdoms and like the mountain ranges and things after the street names in our neighborhood in New York. And then he started writing his book and he starts doing kind of the same thing but with like suburbs in Texas. And I was like, hmm. But apparently it's a common thing for authors to do. We're like, I like that name. I'll put it here.
yeah.
So
Um, but uh but yeah, anyway. Um, lost what I was saying for a
I
second there.
totally derailed you. I'm sorry.
No, that's
But
okay.
like, yeah, is Forney weird because he's just weird or because of the
Right.
situation?
So there is a little bit that he's also considerably older. I think he's something like 12-ish years older than Novalee.
And so
Maybe
she's like 17 to begin the story, and he's like, maybe he stopped. He
he was
came back
he
when
was
he was 26, and that was like something like 8 years. So
yeah.
he's a lot older than her. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and plus in the movie, no, I'm sorry, in the book, things are a lot more like expand. Like this is over the course of several years.
Mm-hmm.
Her bad luck number is seven, and it talks about how seven is a good luck number for a lot of
Other people.
people.
Yeah.
And but it's bad for her because when she was seven, her mom left, and when she was 17 and 7 months pregnant, he left her in the Walmart and like,
Mm-hmm.
all these things.
Yeah.
And then in the movie, they made it four.
I think it's five.
Oh,
It
five.
was five.
Okay,
Yeah. I
five.
noticed that because seven is a lucky number for me. So I
Mhm.
was like, I thought that was interesting reading the book and being like, oh yeah, okay. And then I forgot what number it was in the movie. So then I watched it again after reading the book. And I was like, I
Yeah.
wonder if five is an unlucky number for the author or for the director or for Natalie Portman or somebody
Well,
within
so
the cast.
they just did it to condense the time a little bit.
Oh, okay. So she wouldn't be
So
as old.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So okay. But
All right.
but
It
but
works
yeah,
still.
so there's a couple of things in so talking about the movie, there's a couple of things that are interesting about that we'll circle back to probably. Um but yeah, just the concept that Forney he was he was easily the most educated. He
Mm-hmm.
was the most passionate. He was the kindest man that she had ever known.
Yeah.
Like, and she had known other kind men. She had known, what's his name? I just said it earlier.
Moses
White
Wycon.
Cotton.
Yeah.
Yeah, Moses White Cotton. She had known the love goods,
The good
the
luck.
good lucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the guy's name? Uh, sister husband's
Oh,
man.
Mr. Sprock.
Mr. Sprock, like she had known kind men. Also the neighbors,
Yeah, yeah.
she had
Hmm.
known good men. That wasn't the issue, but Forney was the pinnacle. And she didn't
He was
feel like
opposite of her in every way. And
right,
like, so instantly, I don't know like when the attraction actually started or she started to see him that way, but like she never saw him as something in her reach to begin with. And all these other
right,
men, they're either too young for her or too old for her. And although he's significantly older than her, he's still within like a reasonable age that they could be together because he's kind of in the same place of her, even though they're in a different ages because he paused
right,
his life to take care of his sister and
right.
she's just starting out. So they're kind of not that far off. emotionally and maturity wise, despite
Right.
their completely different backgrounds and education, they're in the same place emotionally,
Right.
where like they're both kind of figuring it out.
Yeah.
And
And with Forney, the love grew. So this was kind of the thing. Like Willie Jack, he's supposed to be like this good-looking guy
hmm
and whatever. And um and that's great. And she's like, "Oh, hey, a good-looking guy likes me. Hey," and you get pregnant, right?
hmm
And then she sees this super good-looking guy who's the auto mechanic
yeah,
and
the Troy Moffat
she
guy.
doesn't even want to sleep with him, but she kind of just does because that's
I
what you
I thought that
do.
was so funny that she thought she was being smart, that she'd been on birth control for 3 days, and then they're doing it.
Right.
She's like, 3 days? 3 days isn't long enough. She's like,
I'm an idiot.
she's like, I'm so glad I'm being smart. I'm like, no, you're not. 3 days is not
Right.
enough. Then she's like, oh, what did I do? And then she never sees him again. Sees him from the one
Right.
time
Like
and then
she like
avoids him.
avoids him. Yeah.
And then she's
Well,
like, you know what? Yeah, she's like, that was a
and
bad choice and that was really stupid. And then she's like, I'm
and
just not going to date anybody.
right.
House
And
down.
she sees like her mom who flitted around with whatever guy wanted her in the moment.
Yeah,
And she sees Lexi who keeps falling for the handsome, supposedly rich
successful.
guy,
Yeah,
right?
and then he ends up not being a great guy or like
Right.
not being who she hopes he is. Maybe she falls in love too fast. Maybe she's too willing to find any guy that's willing to date a single mother with a bunch of kids. Because
She's
maybe she
falling
feels
in
like
love.
she's not good enough. So she's
Right.
willing to take anyone will accept her.
Right. And what's her name? Novalee sees that and again without consciously going, I don't want to do that. Like she does kind of have this like if they're physically attractive to me, I shut it down because I've seen that. I've had that. It's not good
Yeah,
for me.
there must be
If
something wrong with them. If they're attracted to me, they must be a bad guy. Like she almost
right.
internalizes it as it's her fault.
Right,
This is
right.
not a good guy if he likes me,
And in
which
in
is really
Forney,
messed up.
it really is. But in Forney's case, it wasn't a physical attraction at first, but it came to the point, like I've talked about this before,
hmm
that I kind of feel like there are a lot of women and probably some men as well that like um you start to identify the person that you love with what is attractive. So like
hmm
we were talking about I don't remember what we were talking about, but like I have always been attracted to the olive skin, the dark hair, the piercing like this kind of there's like an aesthetic that I've always been attracted to, right?
hmm
And yet I married a blonde man with light blue eyes. And but the thing
Very pasty.
is, like kind of the opposite. He does tan easily, much more easily than me, but
Yeah.
still, like, you know what I mean? But like aesthetically, you look at him and you're like, what? You like this guy and this guy and this guy, and
You
you
end up with
married
this
that
guy.
one?
Yeah.
Yes, because his person, who he is to me, made him even more attractive. As it happens, I think he's just an aesthetically pleasing man anyway. However, like his looks were not a negative in
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
way. However, it wasn't the type that I thought I had,
hmm
but he was the type of person that I thought I had that I wanted.
Uh-huh.
Point that he is the most attract like his features now are the most attractive features to me because his eyes evoke the emotion
hmm
that attracts me. His smile evokes the humor that attracts me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it worked with her for Forney too. He was not necessarily a a handsome man, or
hmm
at least not the guy that she's like, "Yep," you know,
Yeah.
but she loved him and his aesthetic became
Became beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Right.
And like I think it happens a lot faster for Forney. That like either early on he's able to see there's something special about this person. He not doesn't quite know why, and they never really explain why he follows her in the first place. Like maybe he had some kind of instinct that there's something not right here, and that this girl needs help. But he follows her and sees where she goes, and realizes that she's living in the Walmart, and actually stalks the place, waiting because he's like, well, she's gonna have a baby at some point, and just and which is kind of weird itself, but at the same time thank goodness he did
Right.
because, like, I guess he also didn't want to like confront her, be like, "Hey, you're living in the Walmart," and like scare her off. So like he was kind of sort of giving her the space, but at the same
Yeah.
time keeping an eye out. Like if she needs help, he can get her help. But
And I
like,
feel like there's also kind of this sense of like, is she is she really like living there? Like
yeah, like
what?
he's like, "Am I crazy? Is this not happening?" Yeah, it's like he's probably himself going, "Well, I don't want to jump to conclusions," but and then, he sees that she's obviously having the baby and he breaks through the window, which would be quite difficult to do. And, he's like, oh, she needs help. And this is the kind of person that when somebody needs help, he's willing to stop everything to help that person. And I think then with the delivering the baby and seeing her go through this horrible thing, that instantly endears him to her because it's quite an emotional thing to watch a woman have a baby. And he already kind of has some sensitive feelings towards her because he's already concerned and worried about this random woman who seemed to be in trouble. And then he experiences this amazing moment with her. And it's almost like instantly he's like kind of bonded to her and the baby. And you're like, oh, wow. And instantly, like these little flaws are just adorable and just so cute. And like, then he gets to know her, and she is just the sweetest person. And she's so kind and so sweet. And she sees the best in all these people. And she's willing to like try all these things. And she's kind of fearless in some ways. But in other ways, she's a total coward. But like, she's a lot better person than she realizes. And he's seeing all this and going, oh, I need this. I need something outside of the library. I need something outside of my sister. I need to be outside. Like, and
Hmm.
I think he's been reclusing all this time. And everyone's like, he's just kind of weird. But it's like after Nova Lee shows up and he starts becoming part of her life, he starts interacting with other people in in the town more, and people
Right.
start interacting with him. Whereas before, like, I'm pretty sure he was just a hermit taking care of his sister and was too embarrassed of his sister's
Yeah.
condition to either go anywhere.
Well, and he was from Maine. I know the book makes this a lot more clear than the movie. For some
Hmm.
reason, in the movie, I didn't catch on to this before. When he like takes his sister back, his sister dies, and he's taking her ashes or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, for some reason in the movie, I didn't catch that he was. This was like in Maine. This was like a world away.
Yeah.
Like I just was like, oh right, the local whatever big town has the local university or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize that it was like a big deal. But like in the book, they make it really clear that like this is like a upper crust family from Maine. I don't remember why they came to Oklahoma and like started this made this house that then became the library. I don't remember why all that
Yeah.
happened.
I don't remember it either.
But I feel like they just kind of like, I don't know why they did it because rich people be crazy. I don't know. Like,
I don't
but
know
but then he went away to school and went back up
where
to
his family comes
North
from.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he probably was just a normal like he was probably relatively normal back in that day.
Yeah.
And he'd been to college and he knew the college crowd and like so he had kind of that life and that experience and we don't know, maybe he had a girlfriend,
Yeah.
maybe he was a popular kid back in that like we don't really know that about his backstory.
Yeah.
But what we do know is that whatever he has seen of the world, he doesn't want it. And Novaly kind of opens him up to the concept that maybe you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And then when everything kind of falls apart with her and she walks away, she kind of pushes him away, he travels, at least the United States. Like
Hmm.
he's bouncing around everywhere, partially because trying to find that like wholeness. Like what do you do when the person who was your whole life like he kind of went
Rejects
through
you. Yeah.
almost a resurrection, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
living this life, he had to kind of give it up for his sister
Yeah.
and
Then the sister
no
dies.
brought him back to life.
Hmm.
And yeah, when his sister passes, Novali's like, "Great, go out there then. Do better than me," right? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, like and she didn't just say, "Oh, I love you, but I want you to do better. I want you to know for sure." Like she's
Yeah.
like, "Love you the way you need to be loved." Or whatever, the way you expect or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it hurts him. And so he's like, "Oh." I've literally been like living my whole life for you and your daughter for the last however many years.
Yeah.
And so what does he do? He's not grounded anymore.
Hmm.
And so he's flitting around, you know. And when she does find I love that he's just found a bookstore. He's just like, "Oh, look, a bookstore. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
live my life
Till
out here."
in the book, the library burns down, and I'm assuming that's when his
Yeah.
sister died. I don't know if the sister caused the fire accidentally or
I
what
don't remember.
happened, but the sister died in the fire. Forney didn't. Somehow Forney wasn't there or got out and wasn't able to get his sister. I don't know. They don't really explain that. But then he loses his sister and the home, and like the
Right.
library is gone. And so while he's gone taking care of the sister, they hire a new person and they start building a new library.
Right.
And so it's like that's just gone. But he's gotten so used to being a librarian, he's like, I'm just go work at a bookstore.
Right.
He knows he
Yeah.
loves books.
But first he flits around from state to state and he's
Hmm.
kind of
Yeah.
all over and yeah, and so he settles in this bookstore in Chicago, which he has no connection to Chicago. It's kind of one of those like almost like the way Novalee just like ended up in Oklahoma, like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Just like, okay.
And when she and then in the movie he goes back to school, I guess. He goes back
Yeah.
to finish
Which
college
makes
or
some more sense to me that
yeah,
like because that's what she was kind of saying. She's like, go and finish your degree, go back to school.
right,
And in the even in the book, he did go and like visit the school and like when he went back to take his
right,
sister back. So it makes sense that he would be like coming back to her and be like, oh yeah, I miss school. I want to finish my degrees. And he sees all his professors and he's like, I forget how wonderful this was. And that's part of what makes her say, hey, yeah, I don't really love you that way because
right,
she doesn't, especially when he's like, I can get a job at the plastic plant. And she's like, plastic plant? Are
right,
you
because
kidding me? You're an educated, intelligent, brilliant man. Why wouldn't you go back to school? And there was
right,
no reason why he couldn't have figured out how to do that nearby. He didn't have to do it in Maine. He could have
right.
done it in
But
a local place, gone to school someplace closer by, finished his degree, and become a teacher still.
well, I was kind of thinking, I was like, he came from money. Yes, the house, the library burned down. However, I mean, he still had like he was still fine. You know,
Yeah,
whether you're
he's
going
not
back
without
to
means.
right, he could have just opened his own bookstore. Like, you know, like he had options, but he didn't care about that half as much as he cared about Novalee. Like she was worth it to him.
Hmm.
And if he worked in the plastic factory until he could open his own store or whatever it was,
Yeah.
then he was fine with that. So she's kicked him out, not kicked him out, but she's rejected him, whatever, and he's up at school or alternately at the bookstore. And she said because she's had this experience with Willie Jack where he's like he does that thing. I don't remember if he says the
Ever
statement
tell a lie so big that it changed
right.
everything?
Right. And now it's too late to fix it, you know, and she like that makes her realize like she has not made a lot of mistakes. Like yes, she has made mistakes,
Hmm.
but she's either learned from them or been able to like turn the deficit into a positive or you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
and this was a huge mistake. The mistake that could ruin not only her life, but Forney's life. Like,
America's essentially had the dad
yeah,
character person in her life, and now he's gone.
yeah, this man loves her more than I think Novalee ever expected any man to love her,
Yeah,
to love Americus. And so that's what causes her to like make the call or alternately to go to the school.
yeah.
Um, and she says, you know, I just wanted you to, I thought maybe you could have better. And I don't remember if it's in the book exactly like this, but I remember in the movie he says, "Nobly,
There's nothing better than
there
you.
is nothing better." You know, like there
No.
is no better than you. Like, you know, just kind of that like if like I've said this to my kids and I know that people have said this is like a thing that everyone says, but
Hmm.
if you could see you the way I see you,
Yeah.
you know, and that's kind of that moment. Like he's like
Hmm. Wow. Yeah.
like, you know. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I love that. I love that like that's kind of the lesson. That's the purpose of the story is,
Yeah, seeing not just your own worth, but seeing other people's worth and seeing your own worth. And what's interesting is that there's a point in the conversation, her conversation with Lexi, when she, like after she's rejected Forney, but she's trying to pretend like, and this was in, I don't remember if this was in the book, but it was in the movie for sure, where Lexi's like, "Hey, just because I think it was in the book too, just because your mom threw you out like trash and Willie Jack just left you, that doesn't mean anything about you. That says a lot about them.
that
That
makes
doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you.
yeah.
They're trash, not you.
Yep.
And you think you don't deserve him. And and it's true. And then when she goes and sees Willie Jack and realizes she's essentially making the same horrible decision he did, where he was given an opportunity to do like to have this wonderful thing, and he got scared and he
Mhm.
ran. And that's essentially what she's doing. And then she's like, wait, I don't want to be Willie Jack. I don't want to screw up my life like he did. And like, yeah, she's not gonna screw it up in the same magnitude that he did, but still, like, will she always regret the fact that she didn't tell him how she really felt? Was it gonna haunt her forever? Was she ever gonna really fall in love with somebody else if she was always wondering if she like he was the one that got away? Would
Right.
she ever feel like she was right for anyone? If even when somebody absolutely adored her for who she was and
Right.
she still didn't believe it was true? No, she probably never would have found somebody that she would have believed actually loved her unless she was willing to say, okay, I have to be honest. This scares the crap out of me. And I like it in the movie how she drives all the way to Maine from
Hmm.
Oklahoma. And like she's like, yeah, I dropped off, a friend. She doesn't say that it's Willie Jack to Forney, but I love that though, that she gives him a ride back home.
Hmm.
And it's great closure for the two of them. And you're hoping the best so somehow Willie Jack will pull his life together now. But
Right.
then it also she's like, well, I already went from Oklahoma to Tennessee. Let's go to Maine
Right.
and like just show up. And I kind of love that because she's terrified to call him and say, hey, yeah, so I'm coming. Hi. But she just shows up kind of like, okay, am I gonna really do this? She's still not sure she's gonna say it. And then she sees him and she tells him the truth. And it's a big deal to have her come all the way
Hmm.
from Oklahoma. And that's part of like he's like, you came all the way from Oklahoma? You just drove? And then that's part of where he goes, oh, she means this. She
Hmm.
really does love me. And that's why she went through all this and she's here. And I understand now why she pushed me away. And then I feel like that was a wonderful moment. I like it in the movie, the way it ends better. Like I get why the author ends it the way she did in the book, but it's definitely more cinematic and it's more powerful.
Right.
Having nobody actually go to the school, go out of her way, go to him and say, instead of just making a phone call.
Right. Yeah.
Like a
Which,
phone call is fine, but like it's so much more romantic, so much more
right.
dramatic.
Right.
Have her show
Yeah.
up.
Well, and okay, so this story makes me think of two musicals actually that have nothing to
Oh,
do with this. But one
okay.
of them is The Fiddler on the Roof.
Okay.
When Tevye asks Golda, "Do you love me?" And she's like, "I cook for you, I clean for you, I gave you 5 children, for 25 years I've slept in the same bed with you, and she's had all these duties, and then she realizes that and she cherishes them. And she's like, "Well, if
Like,
that's not love, what is?"
she's like, I guess I do love you.
And that's Forney. That's
Hmm.
the Novalee Forney relationship. So it kind of made me think of that. It also made
Hmm.
me think of Moulin Rouge because I
Oh,
love Moulin Rouge. To a stupid degree, I love Moulin Rouge.
I do too. Yeah.
But the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be
Be
loved in
loved in return.
return.
Yeah.
You
There's
know,
a two-sided thing to that. Like loving someone's one thing, but you got to let them love you back.
right.
And
Yep.
that's actually one of the hardest things.
Yep.
And like for me personally, my problem was I always felt like I had no problem loving people. I had a hard time finding someone who would let me love them,
Yeah.
let me love them, and actually wanted my love. And
Right.
so to me, it was like, no, I would give the love, but they didn't want it, or I always cared more about them than they did me. And
Yeah.
I felt like that was my curse, that I would always love everybody more than they loved me, that I was unlovable. So
Yeah. Well, see, I don't know if mine is exactly the same, but I know there came a point that Scott and I got in like a really a rather heated argument. We don't really fight. Like there'll
Hmm.
be times that I'm like, dang it, I hate it when this happens or whatever,
Yeah, disagree
like,
on things, but
yeah, I'll be like, really, again, or whatever, 'cause I'm a bit of a drama queen. But like,
yeah,
like we'll have these kind of moments, but we don't get into like legit, like
big fights. Yeah, I know what you're talking
big
about.
fights, like things that
Johnny
we
and I are
have
the same way. We don't agree on things, but we don't fight.
right.
Like
And there
rarely.
was one of the few that we were just like, and it was kind of the thing that like I don't understand why I'm escalating this, but also here I go. Like, and that just kept
Yeah.
happening. And at one point he was hanging pictures. I don't even remember why he was hanging, like why this happened while he was hanging pictures, but he had a nail in his hand and like a nail in one hand and a hammer in another hand. And he had the picture like laying upside down on the couch because he was trying to hang like a picture over the couch. And
Hmm.
I don't even remember what the argument was, just that it spiraled out of control. And at one point, he's like, I'm just trying to love you, dang it. And he threw the nail down and it hit the back of the picture. And like that was like a moment that I was like, oh, right. Like I have to remember that sometimes the way that people love me is not the way that I receive love, or vice
Hmm.
versa.
Yeah.
I was living in my expectations and I had a case of the supposed does, right? Like it's supposed to be like this.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
And and he probably did too. And so that moment of like, this is me trying to love you. I had to be like,
Oh.
hey, but I can't receive it that way. Like I don't feel it that way.
We
Like,
need to find somewhere in the middle. Like it can't.
right,
So it's like the whole thing that you want to give somebody a gift, but you want to give them something that they like, but something you want to give them. And that's
right,
essentially finding the love language is you want to find a way to express love in which you enjoy and feel gratified giving it to them and they enjoy getting it.
right.
And that's one of the big balancing acts of marriage and relationships is figuring out how to do that.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. It was just the kind of things that like those were like the mental notes that were going on in my head, I'm like, oh, it makes me think of this. But
Yeah. Hmm.
so I before we go, I wanted to like kind of delve into the movie side of it
Okay.
because
Hmm.
there were some, so first of all, you kind of mentioned it already, but I loved that in the movie we get a little bit of her life like getting into the car, right? She's in
Uh-huh.
at the trailer. She has friends, which in the book she talks about how like she's never really had girlfriends. She had that
Yeah.
one girl for a little bit, but she got taken out.
Hmm.
Um, and and in the movie, like it does make her look more like just your average Joe
Person.
Schmo 17-year-old girl who has her trailer trash friends, like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she was just a normal girl, and it makes sense that she's kind of naive and she's kind of, because this is life and this is what it is. Of course, I'm gonna get in this crappy car that probably won't even make it all the way to wherever we're supposed to go. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that was like I like that we had just that little touch of like, and she's taking the pictures, right? She's got the Polaroid. Let's take the picture of getting in the car,
Yeah.
like
And yeah, she has friends. Plus, it gives an opportunity to explain the whole superstition about the numbers in a way that
right,
seems natural without,
right,
anyone
yeah,
having to tell us. And
right.
so that
And
works.
then
And I like that too, because it gives her a little more of like a background too. You get a sense of
yeah,
like, yeah, starting in the car, I get why, again, the author did it the way she did, but it does work so much better in a movie to get just
yeah.
the tiniest glimpse of where they came from.
Right.
Just the
And
tiniest bit.
and then at the end, like you said, that she actually shows up and you actually see that moment of like, this is it. Because Forney doesn't hesitate. He sees the back of her head and he's like, oh my gosh, is that Novalee? And
Yeah,
he
he
throws his
knows the
books,
back of her head that
he
well.
throws yeah, he throws his bag down and he goes jumping over the wall. Like he's like,
Where are you going?
he doesn't even question like, oh, that might not be her. It might be another girl that has a similar haircut. Like he
Yeah,
just is like fully in. He's fully there, and they can look each other in the eye. You know what I mean? Like these things that
hmm,
like matter, right? And then you see them get married. You see their happily ever
yeah.
after.
I think it's a little dorky that they get married in the Walmart. I think
That is
it's
a
a little
little
too
dorky.
much.
Yeah.
Um, and I didn't
But
have to see them
also,
get married, but Johnny just say, "Hey, who's taking pictures at her wedding?" I'm like, "Well, Moses, obviously." He's like, "Oh yeah, you're right." But
right,
still,
right, yeah, of
like,
course. Yeah.
but
But
yeah, getting
yeah,
married in the Walmart was hokey. But like,
it
you could have still
was
shown a wedding. It
right. And
didn't
I
have to be
kind of wanted
Walmart.
be like a sweet, like the wedding under the, what is the tree? The
Yeah, the Buckeye tree. It could have been under
Buckeye
the Buckeye
tree. Yeah,
tree in
that's
her
kind of
front
what I
yard.
thought it
That
would
would have
be.
been fine too. So that was her
Yeah.
good luck thing that sort of changed everything for her. That would have
Right.
worked actually better because the new Walmart wasn't even in her town. It was in another town.
Right.
That would have been very inconvenient for everybody to have to go over to that town. It was like a ways away too. She was commuting back and forth.
Yeah.
Like she did
But
take the job in the other Walmart.
right. Yeah, it was fine for what it was, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was kind of one of those like obviously this isn't from the book because if it was from the book, then she would have had more care with that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I feel like the author would have taken more care to put what matters in. And
Yeah.
The Walmart was a way of conveying like the desperation of the moment, you know,
Hmm.
but it wasn't meant to be.
As big a character.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to matter so much to Novalee. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, that's not where her heart is. Her heart is not in the Walmart. It's in the
Yeah.
Buckeye tree. It's in the land. You know
It's
what
in
I
the
mean?
people.
It's in the
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
And
And
that's the
so,
thing I want to talk about is I love so we sort of touched on this. I find it really interesting that her mom shows up out of nowhere because she saw her on the news. It's like, oh, my daughter had a baby in a Walmart. Oh my goodness. And she shows up and like Novalee is totally willing to be like, at first she's like, why are you here? What's going on? Why are you suddenly here? And then the mom's like, I figured we could probably make this work together. You probably need some help. And she's like, oh. And so she's like, oh, you're here to help me. Oh, you want to be a family? She's like, okay. Like, and
mhm,
she steps it right off the bat. She's like, yeah. And she hands the mom the money like it's nothing. Like, of course, mom's gonna go find like a place for us to live. She's gonna get the supplies. She's gonna handle it. And like, she doesn't doubt for a second that she's gonna do this because nobody wants to see the best in people. She
mhm,
does. And and I find it is heartbreaking. It's like when she doesn't show up the next day and she's like, $500. I should have known.
mhm,
I should have known. And then, like, not just that, but she should have known about her mom. And then to have the stranger who barely knew her show up and be like, hey, you're gonna come live with me.
mhm.
And there's something about that that's like, it's so painful to be like, your mother, oh, yes, she has left you before, but like, you thought maybe she was finally coming around, realizing I've made a big mistake and here's my chance to fix it. And maybe it was. Maybe it just was an opportunity for her to fix it and go, hey, I should have never left my daughter. And now she's got a daughter and I don't want her to struggle like I did. Let's do something.
Right.
And she could have done something, but instead, who knows what happened to her? But she took off with that money, left her daughter high and dry, and her granddaughter, didn't even meet her.
Right.
And a complete stranger takes her in to her tiny, like, trailer and gives her a home. And there's something about that that's just so, yeah. And like, they talk about how at first it was kind of awkward because, they don't actually know each other. And then they finally got to the point where, like, she stubbed her toe in the middle of the night. She was trying to go to the bathroom and not making any noise in the middle of the night without turning lights on. And then they end up sitting up all night talking and laughing together. And then they just become like really close. And it's sad to have sister husband die at the same time. And like in the book, it happens. She wins the photo contest for the picture of Benny Good
Mhm,
Luck running across Rattlesnake Ridge in the nude. And which is funny. And then after that, the tornado happens and we lose sister husband. Um, but I get why they changed it around and they made Benny and sister husband one person
mhm,
because as much as I like Benny in the book, it wasn't necessary
mhm.
for the movie.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to clean that up and make them just one person.
Yeah.
And then I love that most of the best, all the great lines from the movie are actually from the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. And oh, that's one thing I wanted to say is so the whole thing with Lexi and Roger and like that whole thing, I thought I knew it was coming because I watched the movie and then reading the book, I was like, I don't know how they're going to handle what's in the book because this is a pretty sensitive subject.
Mhm.
Um, but then it wasn't too dark. It was a little more Pacific, but not like super Pacific and super dark. But then, anyways, and then in the movie, they have that same scene where she's like, Novely, when am I supposed to tell my children?
Hmm.
about why this happened. And what's interesting is I want to say my senior year in high school, we had to do a monologue for drama, and I was going to do that one. I forget why I didn't end up doing it. I think I dropped out of that class because I had to make up for biology or something, and I had to drop classes to so I could graduate and like
Hmm.
focus something else. But I was going to do Ashley Judd's monologue, and
Oh,
like Johnny afterwards, like, yeah, that would have been a really good monologue. You would rock that. That would have been really good. And I think Ashley Judd was great. And that's one of the things I also wanted to say is I feel like everyone in the movie was cast just right.
yes.
I feel like everyone was perfect. I have no trouble believing that these are the people.
So Stalker Channing is maybe one of my favorite actresses. Like there's like a few of
Yeah.
them that I'm like, Nicole Kidman, I love Nicole Kidman. Even if
Yeah.
it's like a movie that I hate, but I'm like, but Nicole
But
Kidman.
Nicole
Yeah.
Kidman's in it. Yeah. I understand.
Stalker Channing is another one that
I
like
like her.
oh my gosh, I just like her. I just believe her. Like I don't know. She's one of those that I'm like, yep. No, Natalie Portman actually she was perfect for this.
Yeah.
She
She
is
gave
the
it the
girl
right
next
amount of like not sophistication, but she gave it a little bit of class, a little bit of
right,
likability that
right,
like she wasn't like trash. She was yeah, white trash, but
right,
she wasn't trashy.
right.
She gave it
Well,
a little elegance and
yeah.
like the right
So
bit of likability.
she is naturally the girl next door. And something that I actually didn't know about her before doing the research for this is that she didn't go to acting school or anything like that. She just did a couple of I think she did a couple of stage productions. I don't remember what they are now, but she did
Hmm.
she did a little bit of stage work and then she did some commercials and
And she got
she had
professional.
done what's that?
She got Leon slash the professional, and that shot her
Yeah,
career.
yeah, well, who was it? Susan Sarandon, I think was the one that, like, for this movie, like, she had read the script and was like, you know who'd be perfect for this is this little girl that I did a little spot with, you
Hmm.
know? And she was like 18 or 19 at the time when she got this role, and she was the girl next door. And she still kind of does look like, at least at the time of this movie, she kind of does look like the girl next door. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she's pretty, but she's came from down the street pretty. She's
Yeah. Yeah.
not like the Hollywood like
Although she is gorgeous. They,
yeah,
they
she
they did a
is.
good job making her feel natural and like an everyday person.
Right. But
Yeah.
just like yeah, just who she was like naturally like Natalie Portman walking out of the shower in the morning like is already like you know what I mean like it was a
Hmm.
natural pretty
Yeah.
and she does have kind like you said that kind of likable like real person quality about her
Yeah.
um and she has kind of like an air of tact that's how I would maybe describe her like just in
Hmm.
her interviews and stuff like she just kind of has an air of tactfulness that comes off as this like sophistication that
Or
you don't under
thoughtful, at least. Like there's
yeah
something
like
more going on there. It's a little more deep.
right yeah so that was perfect but yeah I thought it was interesting that she had never like because I am totally on board with going to these professional acting classes like I looked at going into Chapman University.
Hmm.
Fun fact that matters nothing for this, but it turns out that if I had gone to Chapman University when I did, I would have gone with is it the Duffer Brothers that did Stranger Things?
Oh,
I would have gone to Chapman University with them. Dang it.
interesting.
Like they were there the same years that I would have been there. Anyway,
Oh, okay.
but like so I'm all for that. I think it can be of immense benefit, but there is something to the people that just naturally have it.
Yeah.
And
And she
and
definitely
Natalie
does.
Portman naturally had it, you
Yeah.
know?
She has
And so
sense of realism. There's something about her performances that feels lived in, and
yeah.
she is that person.
And
And
the guy that
that's what's
played
so weird about Star Wars, about the second Star Wars movie in particular, or the third one, is that you had these great actors. Hankerson, great actor. Um, Ewan McGregor, great actor. Natalie Portman, amazing actor.
right.
What the flip happened? How do you get great actors and then ruin it somehow?
I agree.
Like they must have been over directed to like strangulation or something that all their talent got sucked out because
Right.
that is the worst thing about watching those things to be like, this should be amazing and it's not. somebody screwed this up, and I don't blame the actors at all. I
Yep,
do
I agree.
not. I'm like, I've seen these guys do phenomenal work when they were like children or much younger. And yeah, anyways.
And since then, I've seen them do great work before and I've seen them do great work after.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
anyway, yep, I
Whatever.
would agree with that. What James Frayne. So he has done quite a lot of stuff. He's Forney in this.
Uh-huh.
And and he okay, say whatever you want about me, but James Frayne is a weird looking dude. There's just
Not
something
a weird looking dude, but he's not like classically gorgeous. He's not like
so
super
in this
handsome,
in
but he's
this
not ugly.
movie, in this movie, I'm fine with him. But
Yeah.
like if you like look him up today and you look at how he has aged, I don't know.
Oh,
Like I look at him and I'm like,
not aged well.
like I'm just saying. But
Okay.
and it's not like I'm like, oh my gosh, he's ugly. Like he's not. But he doesn't strike you as the guy that you're like, oh, clearly he's the rom-com guy or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And that really works for this movie that he's not the obvious, gorgeous,
Right.
good-looking, perfect guy.
Right.
He has kind of that sort of frumpy weirdness, but he's also it's somebody that could be really handsome or attractive
Right.
if you know get to know them. And I think
He's
that works a
he's
lot.
in that perfect like middle zone where like as his personality shines through,
Yeah.
his aesthetic sort of takes on the beauty of who he is, if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense, which is
Yeah.
exactly what Courtney does. So he was the perfect spot for that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He's also an excellent actor. Like he's done a bunch of stuff. Apparently, a lot of the stuff he's done is British,
Mm-hmm.
like which cool. But yeah, I hadn't seen much of what he had done until
Yeah,
I
he's one of those
was
actors I see in random things and I'm like, I can't remember what they were, but this is the thing that I know him best for.
right, yeah. And but he fills the role perfectly. Like you said, like I'm trying to think if there's anyone that I'm like, eesh. I love Joan Cusack's
Yeah.
Ruth
She
Myers.
plays those parts really well.
Oh my gosh,
Even just a small little part, she does it so well.
she does. And
Yeah.
even so, okay, I will say the one part that I thought was a little bit hokey was Susan Sarandon's mom. Like as Natalie Portman's, it was Susan Sarandon, isn't it?
No, it was Sally
Oh,
Field. I don't remember it being Sally Field from before. And when I was
Sally
reading the book,
Field.
I saw somebody much trashier in my head. And then I'm watching it again, I was like, I forgot that it was Sally Field. And Sally Field's a pretty good actress, but it still felt kind of like Sally Field trying to pretend to be trashy. And I was like, I don't know that that was a great choice. She wasn't bad, but it was like, I
Yeah, it
don't
was
know about
weird.
that.
That one felt a little forced
Yeah.
or a bit
Probably
of a stretch. But Sally Field, I don't, all this time I've been saying Susan Sarandon, even in my head I've been saying Susan Sarandon
I
when I'm
understand.
thinking of it. But
Sometimes your brain just
yeah,
doesn't work. Your mind knows what it's trying to
right.
say, but your brain's like, it's not like they're the same thing. They're not. Your
And
brain and your mind are completely different things.
it
They're not
wouldn't
the
be
same.
me if I didn't forget somebody's name or say the wrong
It
actor.
wouldn't be Paperback Flicks if we didn't have to fix our mistakes as part of our weird charm. Um, yeah.
Uh,
Ashley
good
Judd,
thing.
I think, is perfect for Lexi. And I
Yes.
think she did a really good job of having that warmness and still being able to sort of convey that sort of like she's sort of vapid, but she's not. She's just trying to make a bad situation work by having a sense of humor about it. And
Yes.
she's trying to like just take life with what, you know, with both hands and keep having faith that it's going to work out. And
Yes.
then this horrible thing happens to her and she's like, I'm done. I don't think I can do this anymore. I've done the best I could and this awful thing happens and she's blaming herself, of course. And it's like at the same time, you had no way of knowing. Like, especially if you didn't see the signs, if she had no reason to think that this guy was this horrible person.
Right.
And it's just an awful thing to have happen. And that part is really hard. But at the same, I love the response from Nova Lee that it's like, bad things are going to happen. And we all have meanness in us and we have goodness in us. And the goodness is the only thing worth living for. And you've
Mhm.
got to live for the good and you've got to put away what's gone and embrace what you have, you
Mhm.
know? And yeah, and then she meets the Leon guy?
He's a
Was it that is?
coach in the book. I think his name is Leon,
Yeah,
isn't
I
it?
think it's the same name, but he was like an orderly at the hospital. and
Yeah.
that, it'd come back or whatever, and that's how she
Yeah.
met him. And he was
He's
like a bug guy
Brownie's,
in the
yeah.
movie.
But he's Brownie's little league coach, isn't he? Or something like that. Or
In the movie,
softball
yeah.
coach or something. Yeah. So he's got a little history with the kids that they know is safe.
Yeah, they already, yeah. And I like that. I can see what that works. And then I do love that they still had the whole thing about him taking his stepchild when his wife left him and didn't want either of the kids
Right.
in exchange for his car. And he's
Hmm.
like, so at that point, he's, in love with this girl. This girl's his daughter, and, she's his son's sister. And he's like, you're a horrible human being. You're not a good mother. You're literally going to trade your child for a car. Yeah, heck yeah, I'm taking the kid.
Yeah.
And I do love that story because that says so much about him as a person.
Hmm.
And that I don't know, I like that they so in the movie, they sort of just kind of, even in the book, the way they did it in the book, she's talking to Novalee. She's like, I don't really think he's my type. I don't know. And they went back and forth, like, and they did pretty quick with her and Leon in the book, but they still did it in a way that was kind of cute and fun. Where it's like, no, 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 not my type, not my type. And then she ends up marrying the dude, and he ends up being, she's like, he's the pick of the litter. He's the one, and he's a total doofus and a total dork, but he's a sweetheart. And I think that's part of the thing. And the story is that sometimes people think they want one thing
Hmm.
and they think that's what they need, and it's not. And
Yeah.
sometimes we only see what's on the surface and we don't see what's at the heart again.
Yeah.
And that was part of Lexi's problem is she kept seeing surface things and thinking that's what she needed. Seeing
Hmm.
success or businessmen and thinking this was going to be what she needs. But really, she just needed somebody who had a good heart.
Right.
He didn't need to be a super successful guy. He didn't need to be super handsome. He needed to be somebody who loved her, and respected her kids. And
Yep.
that when she like was willing to give this person a chance, then she found somebody worth having.
Yep.
You know,
I love two things in the movie. I don't remember. I don't remember if it's in the book, but in the movie, I love their like hanging out clothes when he like
and he
drives
drives
by
by
and
and
her wave, her like little like
her little I love that. That always killed me. I was like,
that was
oh
so
god. She's like, I'm embarrassed. He's not gonna
right, yeah.
orange jumpsuit on our date. Do you think? She's like, ah.
But I love that, and then I also love that like at the very end of her conversation at the wedding, it's the very end of her conversation. She's like, and guess what? I'm pregnant. Like
And she's like, all she seems thrilled about it. She's
right,
happy. And for the first time, she's not sad that she's pregnant. Another
right,
thing that I thought was really funny was all the weird, hokey ways to undo the pregnancy, like voodoo doctor,
right.
like midwife notions, like jumping backwards and
No,
do-
it's something that we were talking about. Not even me and Scott. This was like years and years ago when I was. I don't even remember. I was with. I remember the friend that I was with. I don't remember the situation that we were with, but we were watching this movie, and she was like, she did it wrong, and I was like, what? Yeah. But she's like, because she kind of believes in a lot of the witchcrafty voodoo-y stuff.
oh, okay.
And she's like, if the witch doctor, whoever it was, said to jump backwards 7 times and you jump backwards all the way home, you
And it will
curse.
be before dawn. You're
Yeah,
supposed to
like
stop before dawn.
she's like, you did it wrong. Like she's like, oh my gosh. It wasn't that it was hokum, it was that she didn't do it right. And I'm like,
Do it right. She didn't follow the instructions. That's funny.
maybe so.
I guess so. Okay.
I mean,
Anyways, I also love Natalie Portman and Ashley Judd's chemistry. I thought they were very believable as friends, and I think I don't know if I would love the movie as much if I had read the book first, but
mhm.
having seen the movie first and then read the book, I feel like it's a great representation
Yeah,
of the book and what's at the heart of it, with condensing all the excess and just kind of making it clean,
yeah.
you know? So
I
yeah,
thought it was
that's
funny. So Ashley Judd looks somewhat similar to my cousin at that at the age that um kind of at the so when my cousin was a teenager, she kind of looks the way that Ashley Judd looked in this movie. And my
okay.
cousin's name was Audrey Judd, and so for so long I would
That's right.
call her Audrey. I would call her Ashley Judd. And now when I see Ashley Judd in something, I tend to call her Audrey. I'm like, oh my
That's
God.
funny. That is really funny.
But it kind of makes me think of like so this movie has a Mandela effect for
Hmm.
me and for my entire family because I think I might have even said this in our last thing that we quote this movie all the time, except that it's not actually from the movie, but we will always say, every single one of us, and some of my friends, like we all say, I was living at the Walmart. That's not in the movie.
No,
Like, I watched the whole movie and I'm like,
she never said it.
he
Yeah.
never says that. They do say the Walmart, which I think is silly. Like,
Hmm.
maybe it's a regional thing, maybe,
Yeah.
but like we'll just call it Walmart. I'm gonna
Mhm.
go to Walmart. We don't say to the Walmart unless
Yeah.
we're saying like I'm going to the Walmart on Stapley instead
Yeah.
of the one on whatever other street, you know?
Hmm.
I'm going to the one over here. But like the fact that they kept saying like the Walmart, the Kmart, the whatever, like that was kind of
Because
funny.
it's the only one in town. There aren't multiples.
Right. But the fact that I just like all of us would always whenever we talked about Walmart, we'd be like, "Well, I was living at the Walmart."
Yeah.
And that's not a line.
Yeah.
It's so
That's funny.
weird. Anyway,
Okay, so that's Where the Heart Is by Billie Letts. So what are we doing next time? What's going on?
so I know that by the time we will be doing the next podcast, it will probably be after Christmas. However, there is a classic that I have neither read nor seen the movie of, and apparently I am just not as good a person as I could be. I need to watch this movie.
You will be a better person if you
I
read
have,
and watch this.
I have been informed that by not seeing or reading Miracle on 34th Street, I am less of a person.
You've never seen Miracle on 34th Street. Any of the versions?
No, I get the concept. Like I understand like the like
What's going on? Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't know it was a book.
Apparently
I
so.
I had no idea. Okay. I
Should we go?
love all the renditions of the movie that I've seen, so I'd be more than happy to read slash watch this. And we'll talk about it in the new year because there's nothing going on in January anyways. We can talk about Christmas movies in January. Nobody cares. It'll be
Fair
fun.
enough.
January's boring. There's
Well,
nothing going on.
this is going to be around for however long the podcast, YouTube's going to be around, so it's not
Yeah,
like,
so yeah, it
oh
won't
no.
matter when somebody else watches it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well that sounds good. So who's it by? Do you know?
Nope.
We'll look it up.
Really quick.
So it's still called Miracle on 34th Street, right?
Correct.
Okay, so the book of Miracle on 34th Street, and we will watch. Do you want to watch the Natalie Wood one, the black and white one, and
The Matilda girl, right?
the Matilda girl? I forgot her name.
Yeah.
It was funny because she was like so big. But yeah, the modern one from the 90s. You want to watch both of them or just one
Yeah.
of them?
Well, I'm going to be watching both of them.
Yeah, I love both. There's things in each one that I love. So yeah, okay.
Cool.
All right, that sounds like a plan. So for Paperback Flicks, I'm Ruth Craddock,
I'm Rae Davidson.
and we're gonna see you guys next time. Bye.